Hello everyone, welcome back to Discovering Dawson's Creek here on It's a Wonderful Podcast. Oh, they're all starting to panic a bit now, I feel. Jeannine, you know, it's push comes to shove time in Capeside. You know, people are moving on to the college years, university, getting their acceptance or rejection, depending on who you ask, you know. And I think it's throwing everyone for a bit of a loop, to be honest with you. I think we've focused in for really both episodes we're talking about today into this kind of mentality of, oh dear God, things are having to change now. What are we going to do? And everybody's just a bit panicked. Do we think that's accurate?
I mean, yeah, I think the pressure's on for a lot of them, what their futures are going to look like. It's really facing them now. But interestingly enough, with Jen, it's like forcing her to go back to the past in thinking about her future. So, yeah, I mean, all the things that they've been doing, culminating to this, you know, Pacey being faced with what his future looks like in a really difficult way. Joey kind of feeling like all the hard work she's put in is for nothing because of, you know, her not being able to afford her future. So, yeah, we're really facing some interesting complications with what the future looks like for them after kind of this whole big buildup of college kind of thinking and dreaming and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
You do wonder why, from the Joey standpoint. I think we'll get the binder out and get into the episodes properly very shortly. But you do wonder from the Joey standpoint. Obviously, she's an extremely good student, so was always, you know, must have always thought she could have gotten the grades to get into wherever she wants to get into, which she obviously potentially does theoretically.
Yes, but then, you know, because of her status, you know, financially, she thought she'd also be able to kind of secure scholarships and things like that.
Yeah, but she can't do that now because they run the B&B,
and it's profitable, so it, you know, it puts them in a different like tax bracket, I guess.
Was that not explained to her? Maybe throughout the sort of last year or so of college, of school, I should say, by guidance counselors. Mitch is supposed to be the guidance counselors, and would that not be something that somebody like that would give some advice on? I'm just a bit curious on this.
I think he was kind of like a fill-in guidance counselor, so he wasn't like the permanent set in place, because we see her talking to some lady later. But I think it didn't factor to her, because financially, while the B&B is doing well, they're not living any richer. You know, they're not, you know, they're not seeing it monetarily in how they live their lives. So I don't think she maybe noticed that there was a difference in terms of ease to their life situation, despite their business being successful, because they're still kind of cash poor in a sense, considering everything just kind of circles back into the B&B. So it's not a situation where, you know, they have wads full of money to show their success. It just kind of all filters and cycle back into the business.
It's a tough situation, though.
Yeah, so it's not something she's going to notice. Oh, we're making more money now, so this might change things for my applications. So yeah, I can see why she maybe wouldn't have seen that there would be something to be worried about when it comes to the scholarship.
Yeah, fair enough. Let's get the binder out. We have episodes 17 and 18 of Dawson's Creek, season 4 today. We're really getting towards the end game of season 4 now as well.
After this,
that's very exciting.
These are the last 6 episodes of season 4 that we're going to be getting into. Yeah, so starting with these two. Episode 17, Admissions, aired April 11th, 2001. Joey receives some good college news, but while Joey glows, Dawson is forced to face a crushing rejection. Joey's elated mood, however, is tempered by a sobering realization due to the fact that her sister runs a B&B. She can't afford to pay the fee until Dawson proposes a surprising solution, loaning her the money Mr. Brooks left for him in his will, increasing her guilt for lying to him about sleeping with Pacey. Meanwhile, Jen and Jack have nothing but options when it comes to college. While Jack's convinced that New York is the place to go, Jen isn't so sure she's ready to return to the Big Apple. A therapy session forces Jen to confront her past.
Yes. So the therapy is actually coming in somewhat useful as well. Not that therapy doesn't come in useful, but I'm talking about this particular therapy storyline that felt tacked on to everything.
Early, yeah. It's actually kind of helping her process some things. And I think we are also maybe appreciative that, I think our complaint last episode was that they're really sidelining Jen and separating Jen and not giving her anything really interesting or investing in her character or story, or even kind of having her be with anyone besides Jack. So I love that, this episode, we're really focusing on some deeper things with Jen, and particularly, especially the next episode, we see her with Joey, and we get to kind of see the growth of that friendship, because it's been a minute since we've kind of seen them really be together.
Been a long time.
Yes. Really. And really focus on a deeper aspect of Jen's story, because this has been kind of the crux of her story since we first met her. Why did she leave New York? And, and the judgments that Grams had about her early on, and the misconceptions that people had about her and her life in New York. So I like that we're kind of learning more about that head on in these episodes with Jen. So yeah, I'm always excited for more Jen, especially after kind of what they've been giving us this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously interesting as well that every one of our characters is kind of going through a different thing entirely.
Yeah, connected to the kind of their college future. Yeah.
Yeah, and, I suppose it makes you realise that probably if season 4 has one consistent storyline, which I know we've spoke about in previous episodes, maybe the last episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek, that maybe it doesn't necessarily have that. But if it does have one, it is this pending change of educational situation that they're all going on, because they're obviously in their last year of school, the senior year.
Yeah.
So it was always looming in the background, and it's just now feeling, maybe because it's happening at a particularly sort of climactic point of the season, with 5 episodes to go, 6 episodes to go.
Yeah.
In obviously a long season, you wouldn't say that would be the climax of a season of television in today's television model. No, that would be the beginning of a season. But in a 23 episode or 22 episode, or however many we're dealing with here, it very much is, and it very much feels like that. So I think it's done well to focus my thoughts onto the whole season being really about this sort of, how are we going to deal with this change in having to leave Capeside going forward? What's it going to mean for everyone? And everyone is going through these different things. We've obviously briefly mentioned Joey's situation there, but she does have this odd little layer to it when Dawson comes and says, hey, all those thousands that Mr. Brooks left me for movie making, I'm going to guilt trip you with it, Joey. That's what I'm going to do. And give it all to you. It's a bit manipulative. It's a bit gaslighty, isn't it, that
I mean, there are a lot of layers, I think, to this offer. And you can read it in different ways. And I think maybe there is I think it's definitely subconscious on Dawson's part after the kind of growth we've seen from him. I think season 1 Dawson would be giving her the money as some kind of gotcha kind of thing, like hold it over her head kind of thing. I think season 1, maybe even season 2 Dawson would be like that. But I think this Dawson, probably in the back of his mind, is maybe, feeling like this is his way to hold on to Joey in a way, in this kind of uncertain time of having to kind of let go and move on and move forward. I feel like it's a very kind of back of his mind kind of thing that um, he's thinking in this offer. Um,
I'm not saying
but
it comes with any sort of spite or any sort of malice or anything
yeah,
like that. I just think it comes with a sense of it's large financial manipulation that no matter how, even if it's just completely charitable, Joey's going to remember that you gave it to her.
yes, like she's getting this education because of you, and she's always gonna feel like she owes you in some way, whether that
It's
is the
always
intention
gonna
or
feel
not.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so I feel like that might be part of it, subconsciously, that she's always gonna be tied to me, if for nothing else, if for no other reason, the thing that she wants the most, I was able to give that to her, kind of thing. Um, and it also presents this really complicated situation with Pacey, because it's like something that
Oh God,
as her
yeah.
boyfriend, he can't do for her. He's already feeling incredibly inadequate in comparison to her, not, having to struggle to graduate, not even to get in anywhere. She has this big future, and he's starting to feel like he's holding her back. And this show of money is all it's going to be an even bigger kind of hit to
Yeah.
him, that not only can Dawson do something for her that he can't, which will just spur this kind of competition that, they've been trying to kind of simmer down subconsciously, but it's going to also just make him feel really crappy about his future with her, I think. So,
Yeah, which is
yeah.
obviously very sad because Pacey's going through the ringer at the moment, really, isn't he? I mean,
Mhm.
he isn't obviously getting in anywhere. He is just literally struggling to graduate high school, and what will come from that, we don't know. At this point, but I don't know at this point.
Yeah,
But
and it's like
everybody else seems,
his only
yeah,
plan is to
everybody else
just be
seems
by
just like
her
they're going
side.
to. Well,
D
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
He doesn't
and what does that
care
look like?
about anything else.
Yeah.
What does that look like? He can't be sat there in lectures with her,
Right? Is he gonna get a
English
job?
lectures
Is
or
he gonna
whatever
be able
she's
to, like,
doing.
afford a place to just live there and to be near her? Like, what does that look like being with Joey while she's, like, going to school and living her dream and figuring out what she wants? All thanks to
I think I
Dawson,
need those answers. Well, yeah, all thanks to Dawson. I think I need those sort of answers. It's an uncomfortable time for Pacey. Like, it's not. I understand what Dawson's doing in gifting her this money or offering to gift her
Yeah.
this money. I do think that whenever something like that happens in any sense, then let's take the real world. You're always going to remember who has done that for you, whether it's
Mhm.
a positive memory or not. Like, it could be a positive memory, and this could be all thanks Dawson for always, for believing in me, for being there when I really
Yeah.
needed it. And we can all be okay with it, but we're not all okay still at this point in that
Yeah.
trio, are we? Of
Yeah,
Pacey,
we're
Dawson, Joey.
just now, like,
We're not.
the dust is just starting to settle on them being kind of a functioning friendship again. And
So
so
if
this
this had
is
happened, if all of that had happened a year prior and now this was happening now, I could maybe understand it more of a fully genuine,
friendship thing.
charitable friendship thing of just, I have this now. I didn't have this before. Yes, I
Mhm.
know Mr. Brooks wanted me to do a specific thing with it, but
Well, he just said something that you think is like, he's
or,
just trusting his judgment, like, do something
yeah,
great with it or something, do
yeah.
something
I mean,
significant
I
with
think
it.
we all know what
Yeah.
that means, though, don't
Yeah.
we? We all know ultimately it's put it towards a movie.
Yeah.
But if he doesn't want to do that, it is his decision. And Mr. Brooks from the grave can't stop him doing that. So it's
Yeah.
absolutely Dawson's prerogative to do that if he
If
wants
he
to do
wants
it.
to. Yeah.
There has to be an understanding from him, though, that in doing that, it 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 just attaches you to Joey in a negative way, not in the positive way you want it to. It does so in a bit of a negative way. And
Yeah.
whether again, like we say, whether the intention is positive or not, I wholeheartedly do think the intention is positive. So you can't be mad or upset or angry with Dawson at all. He's absolutely fine.
No. Yeah.
But you just want a little bit more awareness from him of what that actually means psychologically.
Yeah, doing something so big for somebody that there's, that it kind of maybe put this pressure on them. And it also will put this pressure on her relationship with Pacey. Like none of that really factored into Dawson making this offer to her. So, yeah, it would have been nice for him to kind of recognize that or say, maybe you should talk to Pacey about it first. But this is
Yeah.
something I want to do for you. Um, but no, it was very much just like, "I wanna do this for you, take it, if you want," kind of thing. And then,
It's
yeah,
not
not only
something
does
you
this.
can make a decision on quite lightly either, really, is it? It's
Exactly,
something you
yeah.
really have to think about, and I don't know how long it doesn't seem like there's much time left to be thinking about these kind of things either. We're in sort of the final, semester of
Yeah, the
school
fine
here.
the exactly. So, we kind of tie everything up pretty nicely of her ultimately accepting the money and
Yeah,
Pacey seemingly being okay with it, but also kind of having to admit to some other things because um I like also kind of, just the setup of the buildup of college for them. Opening of this episode, I think, was kind of fun, calling both Dawson and Joey out of class to go to the office to get a phone call from their parents as they got college letters and have their parents kind
yeah,
of read whether they got in or not over the phone at the same time. And so we clearly see that Joey got in, and we clearly see that Dawson didn't get into one of his picks. So yeah, just kind of a really kind of, I think, well executed way to open this episode to establish kind of the pressure of what they're kind of going through, and
yeah.
then
I mean,
how
it's a
it
bit of
kind
a
of.
terrible thing. I wouldn't have liked to find out that way that I did or
Yeah.
didn't get into university, being phoned up by my own parents. And it's supposed is it not supposed to come to you directly as the applicant?
Well, I mean, they're at home and a letter has come in the mail, and instead of waiting for them
Then
to get
wait.
home to read, well, I'm sure they probably don't want to because as we kind of hear them on the calls, they're like, "Yes, please just tell me. I can't wait till I get home."
Yeah,
So
I
it's
suppose.
them kind of wanting to know before they get home, I guess. Um, so yeah, just to kind of, I think a solid illustration of the pressure that they're kind of facing. And then ultimately how it kind of turns for both of them throughout the episode is interesting because Dawson, he ends up getting into his like second choice in LA
Yeah.
because he gets, and Joey
Yeah,
ends
it's
up
like
feeling like,
UCLA or something like that, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. And Joey ends up not being able, thinking she's not going to be able to go. And then the
Yeah.
interesting thing with Pacey in terms of how he feels about this, he's of course very excited for her when she gets in, but when she finds that she's not going to get the scholarship money and she's not going to be able to go, Pacey is kind of relieved.
Yeah.
So,
He's upset that he's happy about it because he's
yes,
got he knows he's sensible enough and self-aware enough in his own self. He's not
to
Dawson
know.
in that sense to know
Exactly.
that he has no right to be happy about this, but he can't help being happy about it.
Yeah, exactly. But he does have an interesting, I think, conversation with Dawson about these feelings and kind of admits it to him
Yeah,
that that's how he's feeling about it.
which
Um,
which was needed, a bit of depth
yeah,
between the two of them.
yes. And then ultimately kind of ends this episode really kind of maybe warning Joey, like, please just promise me if you feel like I'm holding you back from anything, you'll tell me.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
you'll just let me go. And she's just like, that's the last thing I want to do. And, but she doesn't really kind of answer the question and like, that I'm going to admit to you that I feel like you're holding me back, or I'm going to be honest with you when I feel like you're holding me back. All she's saying is, I don't want to lose you, which doesn't really answer the question, in a weird way.
no,
So,
it's a very tough one though, isn't it? Because we
yeah,
wouldn't
of course.
want her to say,
Of course. Of
um,
course.
you
But I
know,
think her not saying it is a kind of a cue to us, like, well, she didn't really answer the
it is.
question,
Well,
but
she's not been answering a lot of questions accurately or truthfully recently.
yes,
So
because as the synopsis said, there was some guilt there for her, and the guilt didn't, I think there was guilt for, maybe taking it and how that's going to make Pacey feel. But I think more of the guilt came from her taking this money without having have been completely honest with Dawson about sleeping with Pacey.
Yeah.
So ultimately she has to admit that to him, which I think is good. But I think I appreciate her at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I appreciate her like admitting it to him and then kind of just leaving it there and being like, not expecting him to be okay with it, not expecting him to still want to give her the money. Like she's owning up to it a little later than I think we probably would have liked from this character that we like so much. But it needed to happen, and I'm glad she finally kind of said her piece about it. And ultimately Dawson was still, he seemed upset at first, more so about her just lying to him. Not that it happened really, but more that she lied to him about it, or she felt like she had to lie to him about it. But ultimately
I do think Dawson would have been a bit of an idiot to think they would have gone this long without
doing it happening. Yeah.
No matter how old they are.
Exactly.
So
but he ultimately
I just think
still.
There's got to be some realization there. So it's the best way of doing it, of just telling him now. Yes, you should have told him before, but telling him now very matter-of-factly, and not giving any explanation. An explanation would have been fine if you'd have told him originally when he first asked, and it was all truthful. Yes, we did, and here's why, and that's fine. But to give that now would just be digging a hole.
Yeah, I mean, she does explain a little bit why she lied to him, or why she felt like she had to lie to him. And he of course seems kind of upset at first, but ultimately on sitting with it, I think he kind of maybe understands her motivations. And then ultimately still agrees to give her the money. So it's an interesting kind of turn of events with this college situation for the three of them to kind of have to think about, because Pacey's obviously involved in this. And it just kind of sucks that despite it being kind of this nice resolution for Dawson and Joey, Pacey is kind of left with these really sucky feelings, feeling inadequate that he couldn't help her, feeling shitty that he feels bad that he didn't want her to go, and feeling like he could potentially hold her back. So it seemed like it worked out in the end for everybody, but all of this just builds up, I think, a lot of complicated feelings for Pacey, understandably so, which sucks because, he's my favorite.
Yes, I mean, of course. We'll get into the Jen and Jack story now. We can use Jen as a bridge between the episodes as well. But I do find it kind of hilarious that obviously from the start of season 5 is going to be Dawson's Creek, the college years, isn't it? That kind of goes without saying, I think.
Yes, they should have tacked that on there, like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah. I understand that to be the case. What I find hilarious though is seemingly Dawson's going to be in LA on his own, and the rest of them are going to be either Boston, New York, like if that, reasonably together though, in the Northeast at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you that much. Yeah, I'll tell you that much. That is pretty much the dynamic. Dawson off in California, and the rest of them kind of centrally located together.
So it cannot possibly be Dawson's Creek any longer, because
there's no creek and there's no Dawson.
There's no creek. Dawson's not with the rest of them. It's Dawson in Hollywood, and then everybody else. And that's what's going to happen.
Dawson. They should have called it Dawson Goes Hollywood.
Dawson Goes Hollywood, and then everybody else who you're actually interested in.
Yeah.
We'll have to cut back to him because he's the title character.
Of course.
We can do it once an episode because nobody really cares. It's fine.
It's terrible.
I'm imagining the writer's room meetings.
Thinking about what are we gonna do with this guy? He's all by himself, nobody to bounce off. We got to make new characters for him to talk to.
Yeah.
Exhausting.
Yeah. But I think it will be quite simple to come up with a story for Dawson in LA, and it has to be. I know I'm, preemptive with all this, but it surely has to be, give his ego a bit of a smack, because I know he still has it and he's coming to a bit
Yeah.
more sense and he's being a bit more reasonable as a human being now, but it's still there. And if there's one thing that LA has historically done to highly overconfident people with little to no talent, it is smack them down.
Little to no talent. You're
I have
you're
seen
not
no
off.
evidence of Dawson's movie making for me to
Well, I mean, he
say.
does have the AI Brooks little movie, little
Did I watch
documentary.
that? Was I able to watch that? No. I'm just giving these are other people's opinions
Okay,
about the AI
okay.
Brooks movie.
Well, nobody has had given a fair assessment of the AI Brooks film. So, but you're not off in feeling like Dawson's going to have some humbling moments in California.
Humbling is perhaps a better word than smack him down or, kick him
Yes.
and make him suffer and things like
Yeah.
that. Humble,
Yeah.
humble is a nice word.
Humbling, yes. So you're not off in thinking that's potentially where things might go for Dawson. But
Okay.
yeah, Jen, she has so many options. She got in most places where she applied, because I think it ended up being that whole situation where Jack and Graham's like wrote
Yeah,
the kind of letters and applied for her. Um
to every
and
college in the country.
yeah, and because Jen has constantly been talking up New York to Jack since she met him, about how great it is despite her kind of personal things, just how great the city is, that was kind of always the thought, to go to school in New York. But now that she's really kind of having to be faced with it and think about it, New York is
Yeah,
really scary to her, to have to be in the same place with her parents. Not like she's going to be living with them or anything, but just the kind of built up stigma she has of the memory of her parents, and how they shipped her away and how they didn't want her in the city even. So
yeah. It wouldn't
it
be.
brings all that up for her.
It wouldn't be a nice. It wouldn't be nice for anybody to return to any given location where, or that you've actively had to psychologically escape from. No matter if
Yeah.
you like that location or not, there's
Mhm.
been something that's happened there that you have had to escape from. Jen's had to
Yeah.
escape her, you know, fairly dangerous teenage past.
Yeah.
Could have ended anyway, ended in Capeside with Grams. Took a while to get okay, but eventually got
Mhm.
okay. So I get kind of liking and having a sort of fondness for a location, but she doesn't seem to have any fond memories of the location. So it's, why would you want to return to that?
Yeah.
You're almost, you want to go back to some sort of fictional version of New York
Exactly. And I
rather than
think,
the actual city.
yeah. And I think she can talk those things up and get excited about those things, get Jack excited about those things. But when she ends up sitting and really thinking about it, then she
Yeah.
starts kind of thinking about it being kind of this root of her trauma, especially being
And I
in
mean, even
therapy.
more so in
I
the
think,
next episode.
yeah. So I think, even being in therapy is making her realize that what I sold to Jack was this kind of fantasy version of this place for me. Now that I have to kind of
Yeah.
really think about living there and being there, I'm realizing this is kind of the biggest source of my trauma. So maybe it's not a good idea. So Jack is kind of confused, because he's like, "You've been talking up New York this whole time. Isn't that where you want us to go? Why are you changing your mind now?" And all of that kind of thing. So she is kind of implored by her therapist to kind of seek out what, what about New York is causing her to kind of have these anxieties about going there. And she ultimately ends up talking to Drew, because here we go, trying to integrate
Oh,
Drew.
yes.
Both of these episodes try to integrate him in really obnoxious ways, as per usual, because we know him to be somebody Jen knew in New York, and Jen is trying to remember the last time she talked to her dad before he shipped her
Yeah.
away. And she can't remember because she was drunk on drugs and all this kind of stuff. So she goes to Drew to ask him if he remembers anything because she knows that she was with him that last night before she moved to Capeside. And he's kind of an asshole about it, and he's bitter about something, and you don't know like why he's kind of being so cold and bitter to her. And then we do learn that essentially, so he goes to her house and he apologizes and he admits that like that night before, her father had caught her. It was already kind of a nasty situation. She was on drugs and drinking. He came home. She invited Drew over, was making out with him. Her father comes home, sees her making out with Drew. He calls her a slut. She calls her dad a hypocrite. And like, she doesn't even know why she would call him a hypocrite. And then Drew says he got thrown out. So that's like the last he saw. That's all he knows. And so Jen is kind of like, why did I call him a hypocrite? Like, what did he do that like would have made me say that? And then Drew admits that like he's been so salty and kind of petty with her is because he did really like her and he knew that she was using him to get back at her dad. And then, so Jen ultimately apologizes for that, but also I don't care because Drew, like, why are you here?
I mean, you do wonder why, though. You do wonder what her dad must have done. Obviously, we actually get to meet her dad in the next episode, who is a surface level nice man, but has no real substance to him at all, which you can clearly see why there would have been some sort of distance there, I think, between the two of them. That kind of businessman who is just
very
going
putting
to
up
be,
appearances kind of guy. Keeping up appearances, trying to just be nice to everyone, have this great reputation in town. Oh, I know the best chef. He'll make, this best thing for us, and schmoozing everybody in the restaurant. And, I'll have my regular and this kind of thing. And, kind of almost showing off because she's there with Joey. I mean, we'll get into all of that. But so Jen ultimately realizes there's something deeper going on with something her father did that she's just not quite recollecting. And so she kind of makes the plan to maybe I need to go to New York to see him, although she doesn't tell Joey that that's the plan in the next episode.
No.
So I'm pretty sure that that's kind of the, so I think that's pretty much kind of the biggest things that happen in this admissions episode.
It is. It is, I said we can use Jen as a nice bridge between episodes. So by all means, get the binder back out. We'll get into episode 18, Eastern Standard Time. Why is it called Eastern Standard Time? Because that's what time it is. It's a weird title.
I suppose so, yes. Okay, so Eastern Standard Time, episode 18, aired April 18th, 2001. As senior ditch day arrives, Joey is excited to find herself accompanying Jen on an excursion to New York under the auspices of attending under the auspices of attending a college meeting. But it's not long before Joey realizes that they're there for an entirely different reason. Jen finally talks to her father for the first time since she left for Capeside. Jen reveals she saw her father in bed with another woman before she left. Meanwhile, eager to infuse their relationship with a bit of spontaneity, Gretchen and Dawson take off on a road trip. But what starts out as unpredictable fun turns into a debacle after they get stuck in the middle of nowhere with a flat tire. Back in Capeside, Pacey and Drew find themselves the only seniors in school on ditch day. Having had enough, they set out for some real fun at drinking at a bar in the best Drew style, leaving Pacey in serious doubt as to what his future will hold for him.
That's a long old
synopsis. It's a meaty one.
Yes, I mean, I feel like we should continue on with the Jen. Of it all before anybody else's storylines in this episode. You sense the difficulty of this moment very, very strongly for Jen. Joey, it's a shame that Joey's there kind of under false pretenses and she doesn't quite know what's going on. It does kind of throw Joey a curveball fairly quickly, but it's kind of quickly you realize why there's not really any familial affection between Jen and her parents. We met her mother a couple of seasons ago,
Yeah,
I
on
think,
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
and wasn't really much there either in terms of
Well,
actual
yeah.
war.
And also we were kind of trying to play up the drama with the storyline of the lost sister kind of thing.
That's right,
Um,
yeah. But there's not
uh,
really any genuine warmth here either. So
no,
it's
it's not
almost as though
genuine
what
is
did
is
they
the word.
expect? What did
But
they
it's like,
expect from their child
yeah.
when
And I
you're
mean,
not
what
giving them anything?
exactly. And it's really interesting to kind of ultimately meet Jen's dad because he's been built up to us since the first season of this
Yeah,
cold man who, you know, was terrible to her, terrible to her mother, all of these things, and her mother being afraid to be out on her own, so she just stays in this kind of loveless situation. And then we meet this man who's like superficially kind of just really warm, and you immediately feel like, and so that kind of just being different from how he was described, by
yeah,
Jen. But ultimately, we still can kind of read this falseness about how he's acting. He's like, "Oh my gosh, Jen," he gives her this big hug. It feels very performative for Joey's sake, I think, and
yeah,
for his own sake to feel like, you know, Jen has just kind of, since Jen is making the effort to see him, she must have forgotten about the bad blood between us, and I can just schmooze my way out of really having a real conversation with her about anything.
yeah,
And that you really feel that, even though he's being kind of nice, which is kind of counter to what she's told us about him. um, you still kind of immediately read it as a negative kind of
you do,
behavior, which I think is
you do.
interesting. And so then he invites them out to dinner and he takes them to this fancy place and he knows the chef and he's trying to impress. Oh, you gotta have this, you gotta have that, Joey. And seeming like he's really interested in what Joey's doing, seeming like he's interested in oh, you're gonna go to school here, Jen? That's gonna be awesome. Da, 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 da. And then halfway through the dinner, oh, I gotta go, ladies. I have important business to do. But it was really great catching up with you, Jen. I love you. So great to see you. And get whatever you want. Get this dessert. It's the best on me. And as he's leaving, he's schmoozing, shaking hands with people on his way out of the restaurant. And Jen is just sat there like he seemingly had this really nice exchange with her, but you just look at Jen's face and it tells you everything you need to
Yeah,
know.
that has
Um,
happened countless times in the past
yeah,
when all she wants is to spend a bit of time with her own father,
real
just
time with him. And
genuine
he's
time.
Yes, and he's just being kind of fake the whole time, and talking, in this very superficial way to where she can't even have a real conversation with him. And so she's really hurt by this. And so we see her kind of have this great conversation with Joey, really explaining why she feels the way she feels and how hurtful that whole kind of scene was with him. And I like that Joey's not like, your dad seems so nice. Like, I like that
Yeah,
Janet Joey is not naive about what's happening or trying to kind of gaslight Jen. Like, what are you talking about? Your father was so nice. He paid for our dinner. He seemed really
yeah,
engaged. Like, I like that Joey isn't. I feel like in another time, Joey would kind of be misreading this situation,
definitely,
but kind of
definitely.
she's really more reading Jen's reaction to it and taking that as truth. So I love that they did that because Joey's been making some really questionable judgments lately. So
Very
I
much
was
so.
worried, because I honestly didn't remember. So I was worried that Joey was maybe gonna have like, "What are you talking about, Jen? He seems so nice." And so I like that. No, she read Jen's reaction to his behavior and immediately sided with her, and also could kind of read that in her own situation with her father and that complication there, like
Yeah.
loving somebody and wanting
Ne
more from
never
them.
forget Mike Potter.
Right? Like, loving them and wanting to believe they want to be a part of your life, but them constantly doing things to let you down and prove counter to what you want from them. So I
I
like
would
that she's
also
getting
retort
support.
that with, did Mike Potter actually do anything to let her down? He was trying to be successful for the
Yes,
betterment
by
of the
doing
family.
illegal things. So Yes, by illegal means. It's not the best way, but we appreciate
No, it isn't.
the thought.
No.
Yes.
But
So
he's got a better heart than Mr. Lindley, though.
I mean, I don't
Surely.
know about that because he also cheated on his dying wife as
Yes, he
well.
did. Yes, he did.
So
Yes, he did. Forgot about that one. Sorry about that.
yes. So ultimately, Jen kind of leaves Joe and she's like, "Are you gonna meet me at the train at 11 so we can go back to Capeside together?" And she's like, I don't even know. So she's
Yeah,
like, "I just have to do this," kind of thing. So Jen goes to her home in New York, because now it's kind of hit her. She remembers now, like, what she was blocking,
yeah,
what her mind was kind of protecting her from. And she walks into her father's study, and he's there, like, in a chair, sitting by the fire or whatever, drinking, getting kinda drunk. And she walks in there. He's like, "Oh, Jen, what are you doing here?" And she kind of tells him, and she kinda lays out the story that, her and her mom were headed to Capeside to see Grams. She really didn't wanna go. She had a big fit about it, and ultimately her mom said, "Fine, go back home." And so she was excited. "Oh, wow, I'm gonna actually get this one-on-one time with dad. It's gonna be great. We never get to do anything together. I'm glad I got my way. Mom, like, listened to me when I said I didn't wanna be in Capeside, and so she's letting me go home." And so she walks home, she walks into the door, she hears some sounds, and she sees her father with another woman, and not just another woman, a
yeah,
young teenage girl, like a 18-year-old girl from
yeah,
downstairs who was like somebody like who she idolized as an older person.
yeah,
Like, she thought she was the coolest, and she was always super nice to Jen, and this is the woman that she saw her father kind of almost coercing into this kind of sexual situation. And so she lays this out for her father. He doesn't know what to say. And she's like, um, I don't want to fight about this. I don't want to make a big thing of this. I just want you to know that I know and I'm done. And so she was
yeah,
able to kind of realize that, and like, it sucks that you judged me when these are the things you were doing, when you had no grace or understanding or counseling or support for me, when these were the types of things you were doing. And that's why she realizes that's why she called him a hypocrite. Because look at him while he's judging her. And so she was able to call him out on all of that, say her piece about it, and then just be done. So
yeah.
very
It's
mature from
very,
Jen.
very
Therapy.
therapeutic.
Yes, therapy working, her being able to say her piece. She gets to the train with Joey. Joey is there for the best kind of support. Love seeing their kind of friendship, especially when you think about where they started.
Oh God,
Um,
right. I mean, you don't
and
see it anywhere near enough, if at
Yeah,
all, in the last
exactly. We
season.
haven't gotten we got her to be a little bit of counsel in Joey and Pacey and that kind of secret of their
A
relationship.
little bit, yeah.
Yes, only for Jen to be the one to blow it all up, not knowing.
Yeah, exactly. Whether that
Um,
counsel was good counsel or not, I don't necessarily think it was, but
yes, but how they've come together since season 1 and the whole kind of
yeah,
jealousy situation and all of that. It was nice to kind of see that since we rarely get to see them even in scenes together, being friends, any of that. So I liked getting a
yeah,
whole kind of story beat of the 2 of them kind of in New York and Jen kind of figuring things out, and I loved getting a kind of really interesting, complex storyline from Jen that is
yeah.
kind of steeped into what we have known about this character for a long time, and her kind of finally facing something like that, which I
It
think is the
feels
best thing
properly
to
meaty, the meatiest
yeah,
part of the episode.
yes, and the perfect way to help her kind of move forward to this next phase of her life, um,
Yeah,
without kind of having this whole being held over her head. And so she goes back to her therapist, and he's like, "Oh, well, I think now this is a great step for you. Now we can really dig in." And she's like, "No, that was kind of my biggest thing, and I'm really proud of how I handled that, and I think I'm done with therapy. I don't need it anymore. It got
yeah,
me to this place to do this thing that I needed to do, to let it go, to release it, um, and just to unlock it and then release it."
yeah.
And so that's what I needed, and I think I'm good. So, kinda love that for Jen.
Yeah, I mean, it's very, very mature. It's very
Yeah.
mature. It's very, self-aware. I like that. Sensible Jen. This is good.
Yeah.
Grams would be proud.
Yes,
Although we
definitely.
don't know if Grams would be proud because we don't see
We haven't
what
seen
Grams
Grams.
thinks about all this.
Exactly. Yeah. No chat with Grams about any of this yet. But yeah, so that's kind of the Jen storyline tied up in this episode. And then we get it's ditch day, and so Dawson is like, Gretchen,
Stupid
let's go.
nonsense, ridiculous tradition. What on earth is this?
Senior ditch day. It's tradition.
So they all just everybody knows it's happening and they just do it and nobody suffers any consequences at all.
What are they gonna do to you? You're graduating. Like, what's gonna happen?
I don't know. I just feel like you couldn't get away with this in Britain.
Oh my gosh. Because you're an old fuddy-duddy. Like, just have some fun. Woo! So yeah, senior ditch day.
Yeah. Well, it goes very well for, our seniors involved, doesn't it?
I mean, yeah, I mean, because
two of them get absolutely hammered when they shouldn't be doing, and it's dangerous. And then one of them, with his older girlfriend, decides to go off on a gallivant and ends up stranded.
Yes, so they do end up getting stranded in old kind of little town. They have no money, but it feels like an adventure. So they're having a good time, and then they're sat on a beach and talking and having this really romantic moment. And Dawson is kind of talking to her about Joey and kind of really being honest about, her telling him the truth about Pacey and his feelings about it. And all of it is making Gretchen feel kind of weird. Like, he's never gonna feel good about being with me when he's still kind of regretting that he wasn't the first for Joey. Like, she gets this sense that, like, despite what he's saying, despite like that, him saying that doesn't mean anything to him anymore. He said it in yes, he said it in a way that kind of alluded to the fact that, like, there was a bit of disappointment there that happened between Joey and Pacey. And so she kind of reads that. And, like, she tells him she loves him, and he says he loves her, and she says she wants to make love to him, but she doesn't know if it's right. And so as Dawson kind of sleeps, she's sat there crying. So yeah, she's kind of realizing that there's always going to be, she's never going to kind of compete with this epic thing in his head with Joey, despite what he says about being over it or being kind of done or being wanting to be with her. I don't think she doubts that he wants to be with her. I don't think she doubts that he wants her physically. I don't think she doubts any of that. But there's this looming, like, sense of, like, having to compete with this big idea of this big love that I feel like is realizing I don't think I can compare to this. So yeah, I don't know what that spells for their relationship. I don't.
It's where he's just all wrong with everything. One must be all in on one's relationship.
Exactly.
That is why one is in a relationship. One must be, for whatever comes of it, one must be all in on it.
Yes. And so,
he has never been. It might be 98%, but that's still the 2% of 2%.
That's just gonna have really kind of reeling and constantly thinking about it. Also shout out to Pat Hingle, his little cameo in this episode. Yes, Commissioner, the worst, the most ineffective Commissioner Gordon. As a man who a mechanic who drives them back into town for a tire, but then when he realizes they can't pay him, he just leaves them stranded on the side of the road.
Fair.
Yeah.
I mean, not very charitable from Pat.
No, definitely not.
Understandable to a degree.
Yes. So yeah, it spells kind of rough waters for Gretchen and Dawson, which seeing her sat alone kind of crying while he sleeps is definitely not a good sign for the future of this relationship.
It's not. I mean, I must admit, I never really thought of it as a long-term thing because they were going to be moving to to college, and now obviously knowing that he's off to LA, like Gretchen
What
ain't
was
gonna
gonna
go
happen?
there with him. So
Yeah,
what was
I mean,
what was going to happen? There was going to be a stoppage of that relationship.
at
It's
some
quite.
point.
It's I suppose it's sad that it's come in this way for Gretchen, because Gretchen,
She's been
Gretchen
great.
is somebody who's all in on her. That's the
Yeah,
point. That's what I've just said. It's the point of any given relationship. It'd be all in
yeah,
on the one person,
yeah,
and he isn't, because he is talking and thinking too much about actively somebody else. It's
yeah,
not like
yeah.
it's not like, oh, he's busy with work, or or I'm
Yeah,
so busy with school and his movies and everything like
no.
that. Everything's just getting, my head's a bit of a mess, and sorry if I'm not being fully all there with you, Gretchen. No, this is actively about another person.
Yeah, and I think he thinks he's being honest in a way that makes sense to her, or that she understands, or that isn't kind of setting up these intrusive thoughts in her mind, but they
Yeah,
are. I think he thinks he's being honest in a way that's gonna keep things good with them, and he's being honest in a way that's just making these harsh revelations for her.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
tough. It's a
Mhm.
tough one, because
Yes.
obviously, I mean, he is a very human character at the moment, Dawson. So you don't you don't want him to hold in his feelings, but
No, and we love this Dawson that's being more open and not, and being
yeah,
more thoughtful with how he expresses himself, and being more mature
it's
with
just a
how he
sad
talks about
situation.
things. Yeah, definitely. So we'll see where that goes.
We will.
And then the only two who are left in school on ditch day are Pacey, who's having to take tests and do things in order to graduate, and Drew. And so
What a terrible pairing.
yes, but it's so rough because we see Pacey, like, taking this test, and everyone's finishing and passing up the test, and he's still kind of struggling to finish it. So,
Yeah,
ultimately, that's not a good sign for him, and we're really worried. And so in this kind of moment, in Drew kind of talking up, like, where he's gonna end up, Drew ends up taking him to this bar, gives him a fake ID, and they get wasted to the point where they get thrown out of the bar, cops are called, and of course, he has a face-off with Doug. And Doug
yes,
criticizing him for, being this loser in town, and why are you doing this? And, you know, and saying all the things he just does not need to hear right now. And then
yeah.
he lashes out, and we get this really, of course, another beautiful acting moment from Joshua Jackson
Oh,
saying, this is
absolutely.
all this is all I have left. This is all I have, this crappy town, and there's nothing for me. So what's the point? And he lashes out, like, hitting Doug and freaking out on Doug, and Doug, like, just taking it because he knows. Doug knows.
Yeah,
And Doug loves his brother despite kind of having to be a hard ass every once in a while. But we've seen genuine moments where Doug really understands the hurt that Pacey's dealing with. And so when Pacey's kind
yeah.
of like lashing out at him, he takes it. Um, and it's a rough moment. So we're seeing 2 episodes where we're just leading Pacey into not such a great headspace, which just is heartbreaking. So
It's very sad. I do hope he can end the season with some sort of clarity
yeah,
on what to do and where to go. Um, whether he will or not, I don't know. But it seems like too often does Pacey have these very, very sad, destructive moments. Even in, when he's seemingly in a really good space with his
yeah,
relationship with Joey and everything like that, somehow something will come along that will just
knock him
punch him
down.
back down.
Yeah. Hmm.
And it's, again, this is very sad to see. It's quite a sad episode, all in all,
Yeah.
really. This one, Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't like to see it. you don't like to see it. Drew's just there for the sake of it. He doesn't care about.
I'm just antagonizing the situation. Yeah. He's not there to support Pacey. He's just there to kind of stir stuff up.
Of course, Pacey's going to think like this. Of course, he's going to think, what's left for me? Just this same place that I don't like because I can't get out. It's that very... your hometown can trap you. I don't think that's just an exclusively American thing.
Yeah.
I think that happens across the world.
Mm-hmm.
I think your hometown can trap you, or it can genuinely feel like home, depending on who you are.
Yeah.
Pacey's the kind of person who it will trap because he's been constantly, bludgeoned by everybody.
Everybody's expectations or lack of expectations in him. And the fact that, like, Joey, he's with somebody who is constantly lamenting the idea of being stuck in this town.
Yeah.
And like she's constantly talking about not wanting to end up like someone like him and talking down on somebody like him in the same breath, like, oh no, I don't mean you, kind of thing.
Yeah, so, without realizing she's actually talking about him.
Yes, which has been happening all season, where she's kind of talking about how she's stressed about her thing. She can't be stuck in this town while she's with somebody who's potentially going to be in that situation, and her having to kind of course correct her language to make it, make sense. So
it's just a tough situation because you can't even blame Joey for thinking that.
Like, because that's what she thought before her and Pacey were even a thing. She's not going to change that.
It's
just rough for our boy.
It really is. It really is. It's not particularly fun. I hope the positivity train comes into town by the end of the season. Although from that particular laughing reaction, Jeannine, I get the feeling it may not. And we may be in for more chaos. Are we in for more chaos on the next episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek?
I mean, at this point, I'm like, I don't really remember exactly what happens until we get to prom. And that episode is called... that episode is called Promicide. So,
oh dear,
make of that what you will.
Wow, is it a Carrie situation? Is there a lot of homicide at the prom? Is that why? Maybe
you'll see. You'll see. I've told you too much.
And that isn't in the next episode. Of
no. We'll have the two sets, and then I think after that, Promicide will be in the third installment from here. So not this one, not the next one, but the one after. Yeah.
Oh no, I think it is. Looking at the
is it the next one?
List, episode 20 is Promicide.
Promicide. So, yes. Okay. Yes, you're right. So we'll be the next one. Okay. Yeah, late and Promicide.
Interesting. So we are getting chaos. Oh, good. I'm so grateful for more. Nothing can ever just be good, can it? Nothing can ever just be all going well for everybody who we want it to go well for.
Well, who's to say what the future holds?
Yes, I mean, maybe the future does hold that. Who is to say, indeed.
Graduation is a happy time. Yes.
Well, it's supposedly. Depends who you are, really, doesn't it? Some people really like school. You can also get those people who are trapped in their hometown by just living out their high school glory days as the football captain, things like that. Or the head cheerleader, and they never quite got over being that, and now
don't know what else to do.
Now they're in the mid-40s and still think they are that.
Exactly. It's really
that's quite sad.
Saddest. That's a little bit sad.
That's really quite sad. Yeah, it is. Oh dear. We don't want Pacey to turn into that.
No, not Pacey.
But I think that is going to do it for today's episode of Discovering Dawson's Creek, Jeannine. Of course, this at the moment alternates with Palling with Peacemaker on Monday on the It's a Wonderful Podcast YouTube channel. Of course, subscribe, ding your notification bell if you are watching today's episode, or of course on the podcast feed wherever you are listening on all major platforms. Leave your comments on Spotify, rate and review, and share everywhere else. Leave your likes and all that good stuff as well. But yes, it alternates every Monday with Palling with Peacemaker at the moment. Morgan Hasn't Seen is there every Wednesday. It's a wonderful podcast. The main show is there every Friday, celebrating old movies every week. Novel Idea and Pre-Code Hollywood are the January series on both shows, both main shows there, or both major shows, I should say, there. But is there anything else left to say? Things have been scrolling down at the bottom of the screen if you are watching today's episode as well. If you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, you can find links to do that in the description of today's episode. Or, of course, just find us on and across all the social medias on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dom with the 3 instead of the E in the because, Jeannine.
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dom. All your Pacey protectiveness is where?
You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search G9 Design on tpublic.com.
She says as she strokes the head of a Pacey Witter Funko Pop. Jeannine, there is only one thing left to do. Please take us out.
3, 2, 1.
Bye.